She runs it. She runs me. She runs the whole gym. She tells me what I should do, what I can't do. I'm here on permission. Okay, well, stop talking. Stop talking, Harvey.
Let's do this. Ready? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Coach Javier, it's nice to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It took a little while to get here. Late on you guys, so sorry, but I'm here now.
Nah, you're good, man. Welcome. You're good. Having you is just a pleasure on its own. It's an honor and a pleasure, to be honest. Javier Thunder Mendez, how are you doing, man?
Well, the Javier is here. The Thunder's no longer here, but I'm doing good.
So long gone.
Yeah, so long gone.
How has been the UAE treating you, man?
The UAE, since I've got here in 2019, has been nothing but family to me. And it's gotten to the point where, Mohammed bin Zayed is, I consider my president, not UAE president, my president. And in the US of A, I haven't embraced the president there until recently. I think I'm embracing Trump because he's doing the one thing that I do care about, and that's human life. And anything the man can do to stop human life from being taken, the innocents, the children, the women, to me that's the president I want running my country, because innocents don't need to be harmed, and all these politicians do what they want to do, but what does that got to do with that young little boy or girl, regardless of what country they're from? It's like, humanitarian life is God gave us that to protect, not to take away, so for me, when I got here and I had the privilege of being able to speak to our president, and he was speaking of those facts and how his father raised him, I just went, man, if this is not the greatest man on earth as a leader, I don't know who is.
Well, I didn't expect us to start here, but I'm going to ask you now, he just threatened the European Union on pulling out all of his forces in case no ceasefire has been done in the region. What do you think about that? Trump did.
I think that, he does things way off course, and you're going, what the heck? And then he settles in the middle somewhere. But his objective is to end things. And he said right from the get-go, if I get in the next day, like what he told Khabib, that when I get in office, it'll be stopped the next day. And of course, politicians always speak like that, right? But look what he's doing. He's actually getting things to happen. Will he get it to happen? I don't know. But the ceasefire is happening in Gaza at the present time, and it looks like things are going to work out. I know in business things aren't fair, but you know what? What's not fair, and I'll never agree with, is human life. Those little boys, the innocent mother, the children, and the innocent father that's all he's doing is trying to take care of his children, and they lose their life because somebody else's greed, and I just disagree with that. God didn't put us on this earth for us to take each other's lives for material things. I just don't believe in it.
Well said, man. Well said. Human lives shouldn't be lost, period. Away from politics.
We were in politics? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're in human, like you said it best, humans. Like, we're in the business of humans. Like, they shouldn't be treated as a commodity.
No, we're not a commodity. We're humans, and God didn't put us in here to do this to each other, We know in our heart, so, okay. No more politics, like you said.
I'll ask you a more positive question. Ahmed Jaber, AJ. What does that name mean to you? Because I always see you, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I know one thing for sure is you have a lot of love for that person.
When I hear Ahmed Jaber, my heart goes love. Ever since we arrived here in 2019, he showed us nothing but love and just humbleness, and everything he's done for us, Team Khabib, me, has been nothing short of incredible. I mean, it's easily for me to say I love him.
So I think since, like you said, 2019, when you came to the UAE, this kind of became like a second home to you, actually, in our view, because we see you a lot here, and restaurants and sitting with different kinds of people.
Yeah.
And in my view, I think connecting it with our friend, your fighter Hadi, Like I personally view it as if you took Hadi under your wing, as if it's like a love letter to the UAE. In a way, like you're paying back and putting an Emirati fighter on big stages, for example.
Well, you know, the thing with Hadi is, you know, he first came on board through Madridi, you know, and Madridi said, I have somebody I want you to meet. And you know, I met Hadi through Madridi, and it's because of Madridi I took Hadi. You know, without Madridi vouching for him, I don't know what would have happened. But then shortly right after, I already you know, agreed with Madridi to take on Hadi. Abdulmanam tells me that we have some boys here we'd like you to look after, and one of them was Hadi. And I said, oh yes, I'm already taking him, and this and that. So I took Hadi over, and he was with the team under my watch, but I didn't really take him under till maybe 2-3 months after. I was watching his behaviorism, what he's doing, how attentive he was, how hardworking he was, and when I seen, you know, I befriended him right away. We were hanging out. I'd taken him to go eat and chat with him all the time. I grew to love him, and but it wasn't until I seen his hard work and his ethics that I said, okay, I want to train him. Not for any other reason other than that he's just a great person and he really wanted it. So I said, okay, I'm going to guide him. So I have done that, and I'm still with him to the rest of our lives. I'm going to be with him, guiding him and helping him, and whether it be in the fighting or whether it be in other parts of life. And that's the relationship I have with Hadi. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, he's the best Emirati fighter in the whole UAE. There's no one, in my opinion, that I've seen that's as well-rounded as he is. And for me, the unfortunate thing, and this is what I say, the unfortunate thing is they don't have a lower weight division because he's the tiny guy. He's just too tiny, you know, and not his ability. His ability is world champion material, hands down. But his size is just, how do we combat that? That's the hard part, you know. So if someone can out there create a lower division, then we got a world champion in the UAE. But unfortunately, you know, we have a contender, but the world championship status, it's a hard one to chew on because of the age factor and the size disadvantage. He's at a huge size disadvantage.
We were speaking to Adam, which has the same problem as well. He's like, they used to fight at 115, not just 125. But unfortunately, first of all, the appeal is not that big for that weight class, and the availability of the fighters is not that much.
Yeah, like Adam has been with me for years, and Adam was able to go to the 115. But Adam's skill set, as good as it is world class, but it's not Hadi level. Hadi's level is higher than Adam's skill set. But Adam, you know, he did well. He did well, you know. Yeah. But again, Hadi's skill set is higher.
Yeah, the focus point was mainly about the weight. Anyways, let's go back in time. Starting AKA. And maybe not many know, but AKA was founded as a family business.
AKA was basically was founded in 1985, and it was in a garage. By a friend of mine that owned the garage shop. We close the garage shop would close at 6:00. We'd come in and clean it's a glass shop, so we go clean all the glass, and I start teaching out of there at the garage. Then from that point, one of my instructors was Scott Coker, who was the Bellator CEO, and then before that he was the Strikeforce owner before the UFC bought them out, and he was my instructor. His instructor was Master Ernie Reyes. And Master Ernie Reyes is actually my instructor too, but Scott Coker was my main one. And Scott had a gym, and from the glass shop where I was at, Scott basically was moving 2 doors down, and he asked me if I wanted to take over the gym where he was at. So I said, yeah, sure. So I took it over, and that was it. History was there from that point with Scott Coker. That's how it started.
And if you don't mind me asking, like, you started the whole AKA business with your partner as well. Joanna, do you mind if I say
Joanna?
Yeah.
No, she's the brainchild behind the success of AKA. Is my wife. She's the brainchild. Without Joanna, I don't think I'd be able to be here comfortably knowing the gym is in good hands.
Oh, she still manages the gym.
Yeah, she runs it. She runs me. She runs the whole gym. She tells me what I should do, what I can't do. I'm here on permission.
And how do you feel like you having your own business? Like you have now your son Jeremy following your footsteps, and you have your wife running the whole show.
I feel extremely extremely comfortable and proud that I can be here doing something else, and my family's got the business locked down right. Now, Joanna's got everything locked down from the fighters, and Jeremy, along with the help of the head coach, Ron Kessler, is become a very big, important part of the gym. He's becoming a great coach. Not great yet, but he will be at some point. And with the help of Cain Velasquez and Adam and others like him, Clint Cornell, I have a lot of good help. Tomas Diagni, a whole bunch of guys over there that are picking up the slack for me being gone.
While you're enjoying the Dubai life.
Well, I enjoyed the Dubai. No, I'm not actually enjoying it. It's really hard work. I'm working very hard. You know, I have no time for anything. Just hard, skilled labor.
We can have different opinions, but I mean, it's you have a nice weather. You're meeting great people on a daily basis. Nothing to complain about, I would guess.
Zero to complain about, and having one of the greatest fighters of all time as someone that takes care of me all the time, it's a great joy to have Khabib always looking out after me, taking care of me. You know, is Coach okay? Does he need anything? I mean, he's always taking care of me from word go. You know, and still to this day, you know, I have that relationship with him and all the guys actually, with Islam, Umar, Usman, all the Abdulmanap gym guys, Nurmagomedov gym. They're all family to me. I mean, when I'm around those guys, it's like I have the outside people that come in that family, like Hadi, like Mohammed, you know, Al-Iraqi, you know, we're coming in that family, like, you know, Cain Velasquez and things like that. But it's like a very close-knit group of us, you know, and, you know, we know who we are when we're involved with each other. And it's just a beautiful thing to have.
I know you get this question a lot now, but talking in terms of having because you as Javier Mendez, before even Khabib joining or the Dagestani fighters come to your gym, you were already well established as a coach, as a fighter, in life actually. So, but I wanted to highlight one thing, which is the effect these people that have on you. Because there is one clip I saw where you were giving an after training speech, and you were talking about the love or the brotherhood that you feel from these brothers, not even just fighters. And you got a bit emotional when you were explaining that. So tell me a bit about the...
Well, the speech started out as a motivational speech to give these guys power and get them to understand the brotherhood we have, but then it turned into tears because I realized how great they were treating me, you know, you know, it was so hard for me to accept that they loved me that much. So when I was doing the speech, the tears started coming, you know, and just like you guys heard a little bit, just on recent topic that we just said earlier, I started getting a little watery in that too. I'm a very emotional guy to some degree, very strong mentally, super strong, but very emotional too. I mean, not like bad emotional, good emotional. When I have a good feeling and I care about somebody, I'll let my emotions show. I won't hide it. I'm not that tough guy that's going to show you, I'm not afraid you're going to see me cry, so I won't show you that. No, I'll cry. It's okay. It doesn't mean I'm not strong. It just means that I'm able to, you know, show my emotions, and I'm okay with that.
Have you always been this way?
No, I've never always been this way. I started more understanding what life's about, and it changed me in how I need to live my life in a happy, stressful-free. Not stressful-free, because that stress will put years on you. And I love my happy life, you know. And my happy life is being who I am now, and enjoying the people around me, the brothers and the new brothers that I meet and the sisters that I meet, and always looking to do a new adventure, you know, a new business type opportunity, you know. And the fighting aspect, I'm kind of set where I'm at. There's certain people that I'm always going to be looking after, like Hadi, you know, Muhammad, and then all Team Khabib. But it's mostly Team Khabib. Doesn't mean the whole team. It just means Islam, Umar, and Usman. And those are the main key guys. There's other guys like Amaru, who's fighting this Saturday at the Warriors, UAE Warriors in Al Ain. I'm definitely with him, you know, but they're all coming as a group. But the group is, you know, it's Islam, it's Usman and Umar. Those are the main three from Nurmagomedov. And then for me, it's Hadi and it's Muhammad.
And when, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, when did you gain that? I would call it emotional maturity, because not all men reach emotional maturity.
I think it started quite a few years ago with these speeches because, I always been doing these speeches for a long time from like even remembering back when Errol Hawani got his first job doing an interview and he just happened to be at my gym. Just coincidentally, at that same time that Dana White cut all my guys, every single one of my guys, he cut them all because they wouldn't sign an agreement that gives their rights in perpetuity. So in other words, they got no money, but yet we can use your likeness for life. So we're going to use you in video games, we're going to do this, and we're not going to give you any money. So people like John Fitch and some of the other fighters didn't want nothing to do with it. They said no. So Dana cut all the guys. So at that particular time, Errol Hawani came and interviewed us, and from that point, I made a speech in regards to we got to stay as a team, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, like Mike Swick might like apples, Josh Koscheck might like bananas, but at the end of the day, we are still one. Just because he wants to do this and Josh wants to do that doesn't mean that we're choosing sides. No, what we choose is the team side. So it started with talks like that. Then one time I had another team talk where I had anybody have anything to say, like about their training and things that they like or don't like. And one of my guys, Paul Bonatello, I said, Paul, you have anything to say? He goes, no. And then all of a sudden he goes, well, wait a minute. Yes, I do. And see, we brought Paul from almost losing every single one of his fights to being a UFC contender and actually fighting for the title. And he was talking how we brought him up from a zero to a big somebody, and he started crying. So that's where I started tearing up too. So that's how kind of it all started. So those kind of talks and our emotions come out. And then from that point, everybody was appreciative that you were real. You're not hiding, So there was a situation here when John Jones knocked out DC in the second fight in Los Angeles, and DC was crying. He was crying. And I said, go and let it out. It's okay, let it out, So he was crying. And, at that point, before that, I used to look at the Instagram for DC, and 50% of the people would ridicule him. Oh, you fat boy, you this, you that, you're lousy, this and that. After that cry incident, things started to change.
Respect.
There's the shift happened. Then all of a sudden, because he wore his arm on his sleeve. There who he is. That's who he is. And from that point now, there is more love for DC than there's ever been. And it started at that point. He showed his emotions. And I think that for us as humans, when we see someone actually show their emotions and who they truly are, I mean, we can be as macho as we want to be, but when we see somebody show their emotions, it kind of has some effect on us, And so that's how I think.
Because we all go through emotions. Like that's human. That's where you connect. That's what you connect with. And also, just to point something out, the moment that you're speaking about is almost 20 years ago. That 2008 dispute over the rights. That's not a few years ago.
No, not a few years. It's been a long time. Yeah. We've been having these talks for a long time, and that's what keeps us together. I mean, we are the longest reigning top MMA team in the world is still together. All the great teams that were back then, like the Militich group, the Shooter Box, the Brazilian top team, all those guys, Team Quest, gone, Shamrock, gone. Yeah. Who's still here? AKA. AKA is still here. AKA will always be here. That was my goal. And now with my son, Jeremy, and Ron Kessler, they're building a new crop of great killers out there, and it's still going to reign because remember, we're still Team Khabib, Nurmagomedov, and AKers together. So we're still, in my opinion, the best in the world.
Strong foundation.
Yeah. You cannot, if you look at the titles that we have, I'm Team Khabib. So if we look at the titles, there's nobody that has as many titles as we do right now. Presently, there isn't. And the lightweight division, we have all the champions except one FC. We don't have that. But other than that, the Bellator, the PFL champions, and the UFC champion, the lightweight, we rule that division, with all them. And then basically UAE Warriors, Amaru is the lightweight champion, and then we have other ones, the welterweight champion. For Bellator, we have the featherweight champion. I mean, it's littered with champions and more to come. Team Habib's got more to come, which is still me because I'm the head coach. Habib runs the guys, but I'm his head coach. I don't act like the other guy's the head coach. I'm Habib's coach.
And I think there's a reason why your gym could maintain this level of greatness for a lot of years. I mean, going back a year ago, we had dinner at Hadi's house, and I asked you a specific question where what would you advise two young Emirati fighters that are starting their own team on how to manage the egos or the different personalities of people in the gym? And you answered very blatantly, and you said, if the person's energy is off or if he causes issues in my gym, he's not welcome. I don't care how talented that person is. So I think you focus on that heavily in terms of who trains at your gym or the people and the group of people that train in your gym.
100%. It has to be important that we're all together. And if one person comes in, his intent is to hurt the other people, and the other fighters are just like, why is coach favoring this guy? Because he's making money, but yet he's hurting us. You know, he's not being a teammate to us. Why are these getting favoritism? So you have to be careful how you manage that. You can't go with the money guy. You can't go with the star guy. You have to go with everybody. You know, yeah, you have your particular people that you're working personally, but as a team, you can't have preference. You know, and that's what keeps us together. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say Hadi has a fight. Let's say Habib has a fight. Habib's fights after Hadi, 1 month after Hadi's fight. So when it comes to sparring, we go priority. You know, we don't go who's the most known guy. We go who's the priority. So in this particular situation, Habib's fight's 1 month out. Hadi's fight's 1 month before Habib's. So sparring privileges don't go to Habib. He's the superstar. No, it goes to Hadi. Hadi decides if he's going to spar first or he's going to spar second. He's the deciding factor. And those are the type of things that we do that help us, you know, keep the team together because they know the routine. You know, when it comes to team speeches, right, at the very beginning, since if I'm there, I'm the head coach, I'll be the last one speaking. So I'll have the lower level speak and then the higher level, and then one next to me, there's the highest level, he'll speak. Just like in the service, right? You know, you got the general leading everybody, the commander, the sergeant, the lieutenant. They all have their specific rank where they come in and do their thing. It's the same thing. So if you don't have that discipline and you don't have that structure, I really honestly think you have something that eventually is going to fall apart. You have a house that'll break because it's weak.
Walter Pops, what does that name mean to you, man?
Pops Carvalho means love to me, someone that no matter what you did, always believed in you, always felt that you were the best, even though you weren't the best. He would say, you're the best, I could make you a world champion, even though I'll probably never make you a world champion. He was always positive. He, for me, is the individual that 82 years of age was still able to hold the kicking, just regular pads for anybody. He held, at 82 years of age, he held the pads for Rico Van Hooven, who was the Glory heavyweight world champion. And Rico's throwing as hard as he can, kicking. And Pops is saying, that all you got, boy? Hit harder. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm going, I'd rip anybody's arm off the way it is. But no, he's like, no, like nothing. You know, so love and and I'm always yelling over and right, and he's always just be a ventriloquist. So he'd throw his voice. So he'd always trick people like we're in the boxing gyms, right? And he would say something, ya viene la migra, muchachos, like the immigration's coming. So he did that, and like 3 or 4 people ran out the gym. Hey, that reminds me of Pops.
May his soul rest in peace, man.
Yes.
It was very important to you having him. Even I remember, like, there's a picture that you posted, you guys in the backstage before DC's fight, and he was not Cain Velasquez's fight, and he was, as you said, like I think he was still in his 80s, going strong.
Yeah.
Sitting there just like one of the team members.
He was a rock, that guy, you know, and I know God's taking care of him.
What's his impact on you? Like,
His impact on me was not on a technical level. It was more of a humanitarian, care for all my fighters level. That was his biggest impact on me. He played a huge impact on that because the reason why I tell you that is my very first loss that I lost, my first fight, and I was Ian Jacqueline, and I had two coaches, and he was one of them. He was the main one, but the other coach was with me too, and the other coach turned his back on me, and because I lost, he felt like I was worthless, and he made me feel like that, and Pops didn't. He embraced me. He goes, "That's okay, boy. We'll come back. We're going to come back stronger." He made me feel good. But the other one made me feel like I was worthless, and so I learned the compassion of how you treat a fighter. And if your fighter loses, don't throw him out. Embrace him. Work with him. Be there for him. It's important. That's at the time when a real coach comes to you. That's when a real coach comes to you. What he does when you don't do well. That's a real coach, that he's there for you. Not the coach is there when you're winning. What about when you're losing? What is that coach doing? Is he turning his back, is he partying with his friends, or is he there with you and seeing what you're doing, how you're doing, and giving you the words of encouragement that you need? That, to me, is important, and I learned that big from Pops.
And that's interesting. But what would you do? How would you guide a fighter that to handle failure instead of breaking them, like you said?
Well, I would look at, how do you feel? What do you feel went wrong? And they say what they say, then I say what I say, and I don't focus on negative. I focus on positive. I said, yeah, you lost that fight, but this is the reason, and we need to correct that. So, I would always encourage them on, what we need to get back on track, if that's what they wanted. They have to want it. If they don't want it, then it's time to say, hey, I had a good run. I can't have no regrets for what I've done. Let's move on with our life. That's what I would do.
And if someone shows like a chink in their armor, as the one would say, do you immediately address it, or do you give them time? Because there's a very thin line between a person that really wants this, or a person that's willing, has one foot in and one foot out, as they say.
Well, when you show a kink in your armor, it is my responsibility, if I see it, to point it out right away. Because if I don't point it out right away, that thing you're discussing could end up costing you that fight. Because sometimes that little area doesn't require just you telling one time. It's repeated over and over and over, reminding that person, hey, your hand's in the wrong place. Hey, your hand's in the wrong place. And it's not like one time, it's repeatedly. So if you don't point it right away, let's just say you say it one time, but the guy's fighting 2 weeks from that day. He said it one time only. And all of a sudden, that one mistake that you saw is what cost him that fight. So now as a coach, what could I have done different? Well, I could have reminded him on a daily basis what he's doing wrong versus one time. It's important to understand that repetition is what gets us to be able to function properly, not one time. When someone teaches you how to do a jab or teach you a certain chokehold, you don't just do it one time. It's a repetition type thing in order for you to get comfortable with it. So it's the same thing. You cannot acknowledge a mistake and just leave it at one time. You got to keep on it and on it.
And we don't have a lot of time, so I'll ask you this question. The future of AKA, like you have a foundation right now and you have a synergy, I would say. Like, how do you ensure this transcends time? Like, this is something that keeps on going. You kind of alluded to some of it, like having great people to take over, but cementing Javier's fundamentals in terms of care, in terms of respect, in terms of priority, all of these things, the things that you just mentioned. If Hadi's fight is next, we don't favor the star because he's a star, like all of these things. How do you make sure that becomes a gym fundamental, not something that is only implemented when Javier is around?
Well, you had a very interesting question you're asking me, because I never really put much thought into that. I was always putting the thought into the individual, and the principles of what Khabib has learned from us, he's brought back to Dagestan, and he's implemented what they've been missing. And look what it's turned out to be when you have a bunch of individuals that are training to have a disciplined regimen. Khabib doesn't need any fighter from anywhere in the world to come train with him. They're homegrown because they're over there. Those guys, from when they're able to walk, they're grappling, they're doing things, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, MMA now has become the #1 sport in Dagestan for them to practice because of what Habib's done. So Habib has learned how to put the whole package together. He's learned from my tutelage and being at my gym how to combine everything together. And a perfect example, what I'm talking to you guys about, is in 2018, I was in Russia, and a meeting with the great one, his father, which is, I consider one of the greatest of all time. And the reason why I call it Father's Plan on a lot of things is because I want to honor his greatness, and letting people know that this is Father's students. I just came in and I have my input, but Father is the main one with them. So they asked him, one of the journalists asked me, he said, hey, we asked Abdulmanap, if he would like an AKA at his gym, and his reply was, no, we have everything we need. We have everything we need here because we only need one person, and a journalist goes, and you know who he said? I said, no. He says, you. He goes, you're the only one they need, because everything else they have. So I understood what he meant because I put the pieces together. His father, like I said, is one of the greatest I've ever seen. And disciplinary, like a military, he is unbelievable like that. Humanitarian, unbelievable there too. Great heart, everything. But I put the pieces together. Habib has used mostly his father's tutelage, but he's added my little elements to it, which has made him, to me, Habib's on track to being one of the greatest coaches of all time, if he decides that's what he wants to continue to do, because he has great tutelage from his father, and I just added the pieces that just make him that much better.
And Father's Plan, since you tapped into that, I remember I heard you say on an interview, like, people mistake Father's Plan as grapple, and in reality, it's not grapple. It's use your opponent's weakness and your great points against your opponent's weakness. It's like, that's Father's Plan, is make sure you find the best way to win this fight. It's not grappling.
Correct. And still a lot of people don't understand that his father was more complex than that. His father, that's a simple thing. Just grapple because that's all we do. No. His father was more complex than that. He understood the mentality of how to win a fight, and he understood what was needed, So he assesses a fighter, he looks at a fighter, this is his weakness, okay, let's go there. Now, granted, Habib was the best grappler I've ever seen, so obviously Father's Plan is for Habib, grapple, because Habib's the best ever. And there's nobody been as dominant on the ground as Habib in any division. No division has been as dominant as him. And so Father's Plan, if you apply it to Habib, is grappling, if you apply it to Habib. But if you apply it to Islam and Usman and Umar, it's not. It's not. It's everything. They have a lot of different elements to what they have. So Father's Plan is, again, is like you said, it's using your biggest advantage against your opponent. So like, for instance, let's say we're in a grappling situation and maybe I'm slightly better than you at grappling, but I'm much better than you at boxing, or I'm much better than you at kickboxing. Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep it at my strength, which is in the chess game, right? You don't go queen for queen if you have a rook that can take out that queen. It's ridiculous because the queen and queen too powerful with each other. So, but now you have a rook and you know how to use it. They don't. So you use your queen to sacrifice, but to take the queen. And that's basically Father's Plan. Find the weaknesses and your strengths, and use them.
Unfortunately, time is against us right now, so we want to just end it with a small two-part question for you. How do you want the legacy of Javier Mendez to be remembered as? And what's one piece of wisdom that you gained later in life that you wish you gained earlier?
Well, at the very beginning when I was doing everything, because my sons were not involved in what I was doing, to be honest with you, I didn't really care about my legacy. I just love what I'm doing, and I was just going to keep doing it because I love it. But now that my son Jeremy is wanting to be involved and wants to be like his father, then I want to leave something for him to follow, and so that's what I want. So I want a legacy that my son can be proud of, that he can aspire to achieve, and that's the number one thing. And I forgot the second one.
What's one piece of wisdom that you gained later in life that you wish you
had?
knew?
The one thing that I wished I would have had is there's actually two things, okay? The realization of my true potential, which I wasn't confident in myself. That's one. And the other one is if I'd learned how to relax much sooner in life, I would have accomplished more.
Okay, interesting.
Javier, thank you so much, man, for your time. Thank you for coming here, sharing everything that you shared today.
Oh, thank
We'll
you.
not
Thank you for
take
having
much
me.
of your time. Thank you. Thank you so
It's
much.
my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. We good?